Perhaps a more wretched class of workmen never existed than the old woolcombers. The work was all done in their own houses, the best part of their cottages being taken up with it. The whole family, of sometimes 6 or 8, both male and female, worked together round a combpot heated by charcoal, the fumes of which had a very deleterious effect upon their health. When we add that the workshop was also perforce the bedroom, it will not be wondered at that woolcombers were almost invariably haggard looking, many of them not living half their days. Their wives also had often to stand at the pad posts and work from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 at night, like their husbands. Another peculiarity about these woolcombers was that they were almost without exception rabid politicians. The Chartist movement had no more enthusiastic adherents than these men. The Northern Star was their one book of study. Perhaps no group was thrown so precipitately as the woolcombers from honorable into dishonorable conditions. The worsted and woolen weavers had not known so privileged a status as the 18th century combers, and at first they resisted less stubbornly as their wages declined. As late as 1830, the largest employer of hand loom weavers in Bradford wrote, "The weavers are of all classes. We have to do with the most orderly and steady, never at any period that I know of constraining an advance of wages, but submitting to every privation and suffering with almost unexampled patience and forbearance." 2 years later, Cobbett rode through the Halifax district and reported that it is truly lamentable to behold so many thousands of men who formerly earned 20 to 30 shillings per week now compelled to live upon 5 shillings, 4 shillings, or even less. It is the more sorrowful to behold these men in their state, as they still retain the frank and bold character formed in the days of their independence. The depression in the Huddersfield fancy trade had continued without intermission since 1825. In 1826, 3,500 families were on the list of paupers in Delft, in the Saddleworth district, and there was some extension of the industrial Spinhamland system, already in operation in some Lancashire cotton districts, whereby weavers were relieved out of the poor rates while still in work, thereby further reducing their wages. For 2 days a week road work in Saddleworth, the weavers received 12 libras of oatmeal per day. In Huddersfield, a committee of the masters established in 1829 that there were over 13,000 out of a population of 29,000 who, when the wage was divided between all members of the family, subsisted on 2 dimes per day per head. But it was a curious depression in which the actual output of woolen cloth exceeded that in any previous period. The conditions of the weavers were bluntly attributed to the abominable system of reducing wages. Once again, the decline preceded serious competition with the power loom. Power was not introduced into worsted weaving on any scale until the late 1820s, into fancy woolens until the late 1830s, and then only partially. while the power loom was not effectively adapted to carpet weaving until 1851. Even where direct power competition existed, the speed of weaving only slowly rose to that by which the hand loom's output was trebled or quadrupled. But there was undoubtedly a chain reaction as weavers forced out of plain cottons and fustians turned to fine work or silk or worsted and thence to fancy woolen or carpets. Power indeed continued in many branches of textiles as an auxiliary to handloom weaving for 10, 15, or 20 years. In Halifax, one witness informed the Select Committee, somewhat illogically, there are two very extensive manufacturers, two brothers, Misters Ackroyd. The one weaves by power looms and the other by hand looms. They have to sell their goods against each other. Therefore, they must bring their wages as near in point of comparison as possible to obtain a profit. Here, the power loom might appear as a lever to reduce the handloom weaver's wages and vice versa. From another aspect, the manufacturer was well satisfied with an arrangement by which he could base his steady trade upon his power loom, sedge, and in times of brisk trade, give out more work to the hand workers who themselves bore the costs of fixed charges for rent, loom, etc.